All right, hopefully you did as well on your test as the students in here did on their test. Very pleased with how everyone did. We're going to start with a quick classwork assignment before we get into our new material today. So on page 96, I want you to do a very small review section, 22 through 25. Page 96 at the bottom of the page, just 4 problems, 22 through 25. And it'll take you about 30 seconds, if that. Aubrey finished? Okay, I wasn't sure. Everyone else is kind of looking at me with their pencil down. You're still looking like, is she thinking about it? If so, we need to review. Number 22, class, what's the absolute value of negative 6?
6.
How about the absolute value of 9?
9.
Absolute value of negative 6.8?
6.8.
Absolute value of negative 8.5?
8.5.
Very good. Any questions? Flip back to page 94. We are starting algebra now. So we've laid the foundations of arithmetic, fractions and decimals, and even talked about some units and stuff. But as this pre-algebra class is designed to do, there will actually be a couple of different sections in the class that will preview algebraic concepts that you'll learn next year. So the better you master stuff now, the easier next year becomes. One of the key things, as you see there on page 94, that we need to master is order of operations. Basically, this is intended to make sure that everyone gets the same answer by doing everything the same way. A little bit of uniformity, if you will. So in the order of operations, we're going to go ahead and come over here so we can see the poster as well, but you see the same content in your textbooks. In order of operations, the first thing we do are grouping symbols. Now you notice on mine I say parentheses and other grouping symbols because most of the time a grouping symbol is parentheses. But there's some others as well. Look at table A there on page 94. Brackets are just like parentheses, though often they're used if there already are parentheses. Okay, so there's already some parentheses there in that example. Brackets may be used as well, rather than 2 sets of parentheses. Those of you who've had my computer applications class, if you go back in your mind to computer apps in Excel, we would have to put sometimes a couple sets of parentheses, had to make sure they matched. Now Excel was cool because it would show like green parentheses, black parentheses, stuff like that, so you remember which set is which. Well, that's kind of hard. Like it gets confusing the more parentheses you have, so using brackets just helps to show the difference there. Let's suppose you already have parentheses and brackets. Okay, braces, which are fun to try to draw. So those little squiggle thing, anyway, they're a pain to draw. But if you need them, so be it, there they are. And here's the other one, put a star next to this, a fraction bar. A fraction bar is also a grouping symbol. It's as if there are parentheses around everything in the numerator and parentheses around everything in the denominator. So as we look at the last example there, they don't have parentheses around the 7 times 6, but they could have. The fraction bar does the same thing. The 2 plus 5 in the denominator, they might as well have put parentheses around it, but mathematicians are lazy. The fraction bar already does what parentheses around the denominator would do. Does that make sense? So keep that one in mind. That's one students tend to forget. We remember a fraction bar means division, but not only is it a division symbol, but everything above the bar is grouped as one quantity. Everything below is grouped as a quantity as well. Another thing that I want to point out, let me get there in just a second. So grouping symbols, parentheses for the most part, we'll take care of first. After that, exponents. Okay, simplify the exponents that we would see. And it's important to remember this comes before multiplication division. Now, some students learn this PEMDAS acronym, and they learn you do your parentheses, then you take care of exponents, then you multiply, then you divide, then you add, then you subtract, and that's wrong. Addition and subtraction is one step. Multiplication division is one step. So you don't necessarily multiply before you divide. As we read from left to right, if you see a division before you see a multiplication, then divide first. If you see a multiplication before a division, you multiply first, but it's all one step. Make sense? And we're going to practice with this quite a bit. The next thing, one more note on multiplication. Look at the second paragraph next to table A. It says when a number is directly in front of a grouping symbol, multiplication is implied. For example, 3 parentheses 7 plus 6 means 3 times the sum of 7 and 6. 4 up against a 3, up against a 2 means 4 times 3 times 2. So just a quick refresher, should have learned that last year, right? That when a number's up against something, it means multiplication. But make sure you remember that. Put a star next to that paragraph if needed. The last thing we'll do is addition, subtraction. And the way I like to remind you of this, it's like rapid calculations. And for video students, I know we don't do rapid calculations on video, but when we do rapid calculations, you just calculate as the numbers come at you, okay? That's not how we treat order of operations, but when we get to the add subtract, you just go in order with whatever's left. Look at the example in the blue shaded box. We've got a 20 minus, and then in parentheses, we've got a 1 plus 3, then we've got an exponent divided by 4 plus 6 times 5. Well, according to order of operations class, the first thing to take care of are the parentheses. And inside the parentheses, all it says is 1 plus 3, which of course is 4. So what I would suggest is working very meticulously, very neatly, very accurately, one step at a time. As we do more, I'll show you how you can safely combine steps together, but especially starting out very neatly, just taking care of one thing at a time. Parentheses are gone. Second step. Exponents. Well, there's only one exponent, and that's the 4 squared class. Ooh, careful. 16. There we go. 4 times 4, not 4 times 2. So the 4 squared becomes a 16. Divided by 4 plus 6 times 5. The next step, class, is to multiply and divide. Well, as I look across, I see a division first, and then I also see a multiplication that's separate from it. This plus sign kind of separates the two. We're going to take them in order. So the 16 divided by 4 becomes a 4, and we could at the same time replace the 6 times 5 with a 30. So I've got a 20 minus 4 plus 30. And once you get to addition, subtraction, you just go. 20 minus 4, 16 plus 30, 46 is our answer. Does that make sense? It's following the order. Look at the blue shaded box at the bottom. We've got multiple grouping symbols here, which is just annoying, but you go with it. Here we got the brackets used so that we don't have to use 2 sets of parentheses. You might want to write this down at the bottom of the page. When there are multiple grouping symbols, work inside out. The innermost set of grouping symbols first, which will usually be your parentheses, and then work your way out. So I'm going to start inside the brackets with these parentheses. 70 minus 4, class. 66 is correct. There you go. 66 minus 27 times 2, all inside the bracket. Does that make sense? Now notice, the bracket is still a grouping symbol, so I'm not done with step 1, but inside the bracket there are 2 different steps. There's a subtraction and there's a multiplication. Well, within a grouping symbol, you have to follow order of operations. Does subtraction come before or after multiplication, class? It comes after. So I'm going to have to multiply before I can subtract. 27 times 2? 54. 54. So I have 32 minus bracket 66 minus 54. Now I can finish the grouping symbol. 66 minus 54?
12.
12. 6 minus 4 is 2, 6 minus 5 is 1, so it's 12. So I end up with a 32 minus, and this whole thing just becomes 12, and we can do that in our head.
19.
2 minus 2 is 0, 3 minus 1 is 2, class.
20.
20. All right, we get 20 for our answer. Questions on that? Questions? All right, look at examples on the next page, page 95. Look at the first example at the top of the page. I see an addition, multiplication, subtraction, division. Which one or ones do I do first, class? There's no parentheses, there's no exponents, but I'm going to multiply and divide in the same step since they're not actually touching. So let's start with the 4 times 8 and the 6 divided by 3. So notice they rewrote the problem 7 plus 32 minus 2. Now you just take it in order. 7 plus 32. 39 minus 2. 37 is our answer. Questions on that? Look at the next example. Notice there is a grouping symbol, but within the grouping symbol there's 2 different things. There's an exponent and an addition. Which one comes first? Exponent. So we have to square the 3 first, then we can add the 1 to get. So it becomes 10 times 6, which is just 60. Look at letter C. I'm going to work this one out on the board here. We've got a 4 plus brace, 5 times bracket, 7 minus parenthesis, 2 plus 3, close parenthesis, close bracket, close brace. All right, parentheses are so much easier to draw. I'm glad braces are a last resort because I don't like drawing them. All right, Some people don't like wearing them. Dumb joke. All right, questions. First things first. Inside grouping symbol first. The inside grouping symbol class is the
2 plus 3.
2 plus 3 to get
5.
So I'm going to keep the 4, keep the plus, keep the obnoxious brace, keep the 5, keep the times, keep the bracket, keep the 7, keep the minus, but the parentheses become 5. Close the bracket, parentheses all gone, remember. Close the brace. All right, now what do I need to take care of?
Subtraction.
The brackets, the 7 minus 5 gives us, so we're going to keep the 4, keep the plus, keep the obnoxious brace, keep the 5 times, that becomes 2, close the other obnoxious brace. I still have a grouping symbol, now I need to take care of the 5 times 2 gives?
10.
So it becomes 4 plus 10, which is 14. Questions on that? Inside, out. Innermost set of parentheses to the brackets to the braces, even if they were written with all parentheses, which again, could be a little confusing if they were all parentheses, but innermost set to the outermost set. And that's going to be something that will be true in a lot of different applications throughout algebra, inside, out. Look at the next example in the little blue shaded box there on page 95, pointing out how the fraction bar can be used. Okay? Technically, you say, well, don't we divide before we add subtract? Right, but it says if the 3 plus 25 is in parentheses. It's as if the 9 minus 5 is in parentheses. So let's take care of the 3 plus 25.
28.
Let's also take care of the 9 minus 5.
4.
Those were things that were already grouped. Now, all that's left is a division and an addition. And of course, before I add, I have to do the division to get
7.
7 plus 2 is 9. Questions on the little blue shaded box. So, look at the next example. In that numerator, we have a 3 squared plus 1 times 5. In the denominator, we have a 24 minus 2 cubed. And we have to take care of everything in the numerator first, but which of these things do we do first in the numerator class? The exponent. So the 3 cubed becomes 27. So we end up with a 27 plus 1 times 5. Well, tell you what, at the same time, let's take care of this exponent in that grouping symbol. 2 cubed?
6. 8.
8. So we end up with a 24 minus 8, all plus 3. Now, in the denominator, there's only one step left, right? This grouping symbol only has a subtraction, so we get
12.
24 minus 8 is 16. Thank you, Evie. And in the numerator, I've got 2 steps, an addition and a multiplication. Which first? Multiplication. 1 times 5?
5.
Then we can add to get 32. And now I've got a division. Everything's simplified at the top. I've got a single number. Now I can do the division the fraction bar wanted me to do all along. 2 plus 3, 5 is our answer. Questions on that?
Are you going to take off points if we scratch it out?
As long as you're following the steps, no. So, again.
Can we do like that if it's like that?
Sure. As long as you're accurate, okay, as long as I can follow the work. Here's the deal. There's a lot of partial credit. So you have a 10-point problem like this on a quiz or test. The more work you show, if you happen to get the answer wrong, the more partial credit I can give. Okay, so there's an advantage to showing more work. However, as long as I can follow what your brain's doing, and I can follow that. I can see you did the 5, and I can see you got the 32. So the steps are still shown. It's just faster rewriting it a gazillion times because mathematicians are lazy, right? All right, turn the page. Your turn. I want you to do numbers 1 through 11, the odd, on page 96. 1 through 11, the odd problems on page 96. Carefully follow order of operations, and I just realized that nobody on YouTube could see the problem over here that I was showing earlier. Fortunately, it was one of the examples in the textbook, so I guess you could have followed along letter C in your book, but anyway, sorry about that, y'all. Get a cameraman or somebody to do that for me so I can...
I'll do it.
Rocky's screaming at his computer, I can't see! Sorry, Rocky, for the emotional trauma that I've caused. And Kyle's like, I just turned it off. I was good. Come on, Kyla.
It's the right Kyla thing to do.
And just doing the odd problems 1 through 11. Evie's finished. Hayden's finished. Evan's finished. Jaden's wondering what page we're on. We're on page 90. I'm just picking on you. We have 15 lessons to pick on you. Gotcha. Glenn is finished. Michael's finished. You guys are winning 3-1.
Oh, she's supposed to go to 11.
1 to 11, the odd.
Oopsie doopsie.
That's a very Lexi thing to do.
Well, because I always start from the bottom, so I was starting with like 21.
Start from the bottom?
Yeah.
What kind of nut are
It's
you?
normally the hard ones at the bottom.
Lexi, always start with the easy stuff first.
But they always, at my old school, yeah, at my old school, they always taught us to do the hard, just during classwork.
They lie to you at the other school. We tell you
know.
how it is. Always do easy stuff first.
Don't lie to us.
No, never.
Sure.
Well, maybe when I say you're my favorite.
I'm not my favorite teacher, this was fun.
What'd you say?
What?
The exams are great. He can go back and bite it out and try it.
Kyle's like, I thought I was his favorite.
Yeah.
You're all my favorite.
Sure. Sure. He just lied to us all.
Right then, again, right there.
Hurry up, Danielle.
I'm confused.
Bro, wow.
Be still. Hey, Squeaky, be still.
I'm gonna call you Squeaky. Chowder. And Chowder.
Picture this little mouse running around. Little blonde mouse.
No, we're back.
Ouch. See, I was going to be nice, because I like Glenn. He's my favorite.
Sure.
Favorite of the hour? Or?
For that particular moment, it changes. All right, pencils down, even if you're not finished. Pencils down. Let's take a look at these. Number 1, it's all addition and subtraction. So you just go in orders. 9 minus 6 plus 4 minus 1, we get 6. Couldn't be easier. Number 3, you can't take them in order. You have to do what first, class? Multiply. 3 times 2 to get 6. Then 17 minus 6 is 11. Pretty easy as long as you're following the steps. Number 5, what's the first thing you do? Divide to get 4. Then you can go in order the rest of the way. 4 minus 2, of course, 2 plus 8 is 10. Number 7, a little bit more going on here in number 7. And Danielle, what's the first thing we have to do?
You solve it in parentheses.
Parentheses, and 3 times 5 is 15. So we have 21 plus a 4 squared minus, and this just becomes 15. The next thing we have to do,
Exponent.
and of course 4 squared is,
16.
so we have a 21 plus a 16 minus a 15. Now we just take it in order. 21 plus 16 is,
37.
and then 37 minus 15 is
5.
7 minus 5,
Oh, 21.
2,
22.
and 3 minus 1 is
22.
2. 22 should have been our answer there for number 7. Number 9, what step do I have to do first, Aubrey?
The parentheses.
Well, but is there anything to do inside the parentheses? No, so, it's not on the screen anymore, but when we talk about parentheses and grouping symbols, simplify within them. There's nothing in them, it's just a 12. So technically the parentheses are already done for us, you could say. So then what?
Divide.
Divide. 25 divided by 5 is
5.
5. I can't do the minus 5 yet. I can't do the plus 3 yet because the 3 and the 12 are up against each other, class. That means they're being,
Multiplied.
and that's going to go in the same step as the division, right? I've divided. I'm also going to multiply to get 36. So now I take it in order. 5 minus 5
0.
plus 36. 36 should have been our answer for number 9. Number 11. The second set of parentheses, there's nothing to do in there, right? It's just a 10. But the first set of parentheses, there's 2 steps. Which one of those has to happen first, Lexi?
The first one.
The
long one, the multiplication.
multiplication, yes, the 3 times 2 has to happen first. 3 times 2 is
6.
Once we've multiplied, then we can finish the parentheses by adding to get
10.
So the first set of parentheses basically just becomes a 10. Then we've got a minus 6. We've got a plus, but we can't do the plus 2. We have to multiply the 2 times 10 to get, class, 20 before we can do any addition. Let me just go in order. 10 minus 6 plus 20. 24. How many went 6 for 6 on the 1 through 11 odd? Questions on any of them? Did that make sense now? You mentioned you were confused. It makes sense.
I was confused about the other one because on number 7, because it had the parentheses, and then I got confused because there's a subtraction sign, the multiplication sign, and then I got confused for some odd reason, and I don't know. Because
It makes
I
sense
thought
now.
it was,
Don't overthink.
Yeah.
Just follow the steps. Go back and do the evens, 2 through 12. Hayden's finished. Evan's like, I'll just pause the video and then I'll pay it so I get my name first. That's cheating. That's cheating. And Jaden's like, why didn't I think of that? Lexi's finished, I think.
Yes.
Lexi's finished. Glenn is finished.
My eyeballs hurt.
It's like it can be interpreted as a threat. Glenn is finished.
He's finished his shower.
I don't quite understand, but I'll just say sure.
Sure.
Evie's finished. Danielle's finished? Michael's finished? Aubrey's finished. Let's take a look at these. Number 2. What did you get for your answer, Hayden?
24.
24 is correct. Number 4, what did you get, Michael? 18. Number 6, Danielle. 16. Number 8, Aubrey.
2.
No. Lexi?
I got 14.
14. Back to Aubrey for redemption. Number 10.
16.
Glenn? 24. Third tries the charm. Aubrey, number 12. Oh, I didn't see that one. Evie? 21 is correct. Okay, we need to take a look at 8, 10, 12. Does anyone need to see 2, 4, or 6 worked? You did not get the correct answer. Which one?
6.
Number 6. We need 6, 8, 10, 12. Are we all good on 2 and 4? All right, so let's take a look very quickly at number 6. It's just well, the screen can't see it, but it's multiplication division, right? That's all one step. So it's basically like a rapid calculation. You just go in order. 12 divided by 3.
4.
Times 4.
16.
16. So you just take it straight in order when it's division and multiplication all at the same time. Number 8, what's the first thing we have to do, Aubrey? Exponent. And 2 cubed is 8. Okay, so we're good with the plus 8 at the back end. Then we got our 14, and then in the middle, we've got a multiplication. Let's do that before we start doing additions and subtractions. So the 4 times 2 is 8. So then we just go in order. 14 minus 8
6.
plus 8, back to the 14 again. Or you could say a plus 8 and minus 8 are going to cancel each other if you're really lazy and just go with the 14 that way. But, you know. Does that make sense now? All right, number 10, parentheses first. What's 17 minus 8? Bless you. 9. So we've got a 2, and then in the parentheses become a 9 plus 6. But because the 2 is up against the parentheses, it means we're going to multiply to get 18 plus the 6. And I think maybe you subtracted the 6. You said 12 is your answer?
Which one?
On number 10?
I said 16.
16, okay, yes. So it should have gotten 18 plus 6, and that's where we get the 24. Does that make sense? Then on the last one, there's a lot going on in these parentheses. But of all the things going on in the parentheses, what's the first thing we have to do, Hayden?
You have to multiply the 3 times 6.
Which becomes 6. Now everything in the parentheses is just subtraction, so we just take it in order. 10 minus 6,
4.
minus 3, 1. So we end up with all the parentheses becoming a 1, but again, the 4 is up against the parentheses. The 4 is up against the 1. So 4 times 1, class? 4 plus the 17, and that's where we get the 21. Any questions on those now that we've gone over them? Did anyone go 6 for 6? Just Hayden. All right, 5 for 6, just missed 1. All right, the 1 that we missed, we understand now. All right, anyone missed just 2? We understand the 2 we missed. All right, I want you to go now and do 13 to 21 the odd. 13 to 21 the odd. It's going to be a little bit more challenging. May require to show a few more steps in there. Work carefully and neatly. (13 to 21 the odd). I need to start having Quentin demonstrate the box jumps. Just getting too old for this. Makes my back hurt.
Maybe you should have used your notes.
Hayden's like, makes my leg hurt. It's okay, Clint feels your pain a little bit.
This is going.
Is this going?
I have a rock in my chin from when I fell on my bike. Like years ago. It's just a rock in my chin.
Was in your chin.
It was embedded.
Yeah.
Gravel road.
Yeah.
A piece of gravel just into the chin.
Is it there?
Oh.
You can feel it? Okay.
She's got a stone face. Anyway, work.
Drawing on her work more.
What does that say? Okay. Wasn't sure if that was a 7 or a 9.
Yeah.
Okay. Neither. It was a 1. Just fix number 15. All right except 21.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry?
Is that it? I don't know. I can't tell the bracelet.
It's okay, close enough.
That looks like a backwards turn.
Yeah, it's a weird, flashy thing. That's better. There you go. That's the problem. Okay. So right here, you're missing opposed to subtraction.
So simplify all this nested with 13, all this nested with 6, which you never subtracted.
Just about 30 seconds longer to be finishing up these odd problems, and we'll take a look at them together. Don't yell, Glenn, it's contagious.
Only to people I feel emotionally attached to.
That's just please.
Or Lexi.
I'm sorry. My crazy aunt told me that.
Don't be like you crazy Aunt
I
Lexi.
don't think she's the
Who
one
was
that's
crazy?
crazy, Lexi. I think.
No, she's in the hospital.
I think.
All right, let's take a look at these together. Number 13. The fraction bar is a grouping symbol, so we need to group whatever's above and below as a single number. Well, above, we already have a 36, so there's nothing to do above. Below, we have to take care of the 2 times 3 class to get 6. Now we can do what the fraction bar tells us to do, and that's divide 36 by 6 to get.
6.
Then we can divide that by the next 6 to get 1. How many had 1 for number 13? Number 15. Above the fraction bar, there's 2 steps, but which one has to happen first, class?
The multiplication.
The multiplication. 4 times 7 is
48.
Then we can add the 12 to get
40.
40. So in the numerator, we have 40. All right, let's take a look at the denominator. Which step has to happen first?
2 times 2.
The 6 times 2, the multiplication to get 12. Then you can add the 8 to get 20. And of course, we're going to add the 1 at the end. Well, what is 40 divided by 20?
2.
2 plus 1?
3.
3 should have been our answer, number 15. How many had 3 for number 15? Questions on number 15. Number 17. We have a lot of stuff, but we're going to start with
The parentheses.
the parentheses. The 4 minus 1 becomes 3. And because I can, I'm just going to erase and replace it with a 3. Now we have to take care of what's inside the brackets. And inside the brackets is just 3 times 3, which is 9. Now inside the braces, I've got 2 steps. I've got the 2 up against the 9, which means
18.
multiply, which is 18. And I've got a plus 2. Should I add the 2 or multiply the 2?
Multiply the 2 first.
Multiply the 2 first to get the 18, then add the 2 to get 20. All right, and that's what is all inside the braces, just becomes a 20, and then we got a plus 1, so of course 21. Our answer, how many had that for number 17? Questions, number 17. All right, number 19. Again, above the fraction bar, that is a grouping symbol. The first thing we've got to do is multiply the 4 times 4 to get 16. Then add the 6.
22.
And then finally, we can take 22 divided by 2 to get 11. So that whole thing becomes an 11. So we really have 11 plus 7 times 3. And again, that's multiplication. Do I add the 7 first or multiply the 3 first?
Multiply the 3.
Multiply the 3 to get
21.
21, and then add the 21 to the 11 to get?
32.
How many have 32 on number 19? Questions on number 19? And number 21, again, starting with parentheses, there's 2 different sets, so take care of both of them. 2 plus 1 class? 3. And 4 minus 2? 2. All right, and now inside the brackets, there are 3 different things. Right here we see a multiplication, I see a subtraction, and I see another multiplication. First, I should do the multiplications. The 5 times 3 and the 3 times 2 gives me
15.
minus 6 inside the brackets. But I'm not done with the parentheses or the grouping symbols yet, right? I've still got to finish with the 15 minus 6 is 9. So I end up with the 32 minus 3, and then in the brackets, or parentheses, whatever I want to call them, I get a 9. At this point, I've got a subtraction and a multiplication. Which one comes first? The multiplication to get. So it's 32 minus 27 equals 5. How many got 5 for number 21? Questions on number 21? Anyone go 5 for 5? Got all 5 correct. Just a couple of you. 4 for 5, just missed 1. Questions on any of the ones we missed? Go back and do 14 to 20 to even. 14 through 20, the even. Now Glenn can see. Just for you, Glenn, because favorite. When you finish, check your answers. Still working, that's fine. Another minute or so to keep working. For those who are finished, though, how many went 4 for 4? How many who are finished 4 for 4? All right, questions from those who've already finished. Again, I realize some people are still working, but are there questions from those who have finished? Yes, ma'am.
I'm confused about the last one.
Okay, well again, inside set of parentheses first, but this multiplication is the first of the two things inside. So 6 minus 3, and then of course that becomes a 3. Now inside the brackets, I've got a subtraction and multiplication. Multiplication has to happen first, then the subtraction to get 4. And then 4 times 10 minus 3, well, multiplication comes before subtraction, so 40 minus 3 is 37. All right, all of you at this point, pencils down. Even if you're not finished, check the ones you got done. How many got all the ones you did correct, even if you didn't finish all of them? Last call questions on 14, 16, 18, or 20. Last call questions. Going once on questions. Going twice on questions. Gone on questions. All right, for homework, you'll be practicing with more of these. You will need to work these on paper, okay? So I do want you to work these on paper so you have room to work. Page 97, the homework, 1 through 13. Page 97, the homework, numbers 1 through 13. We'll take a look at all of those in our next lesson. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and you are dismissed.